Hey, we're back with another 12 weeks to peak video, Wes Schaefer's free accountability program. If you're not over there and you're a salesperson or you're a founder who knows that they need to get more leads going, get over there. If you want to make more money, get over there. I interviewed Wes on my show, and I'll link to that below, earlier this month, or well, late December. It's January now, about the program and the results that I got. I can say with confidence that I doubled my revenue in the last quarter because of that program and the things it got me to do, such as this, right, where I'm making content. Now it's not difficult for me to make content, but anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is information interviews. I've been in a few agency groups lately where people have popped up, and they're having trouble connecting with decision makers and getting into conversations like with general managers of auto dealerships. And I was doing this back in like 2013. Like, it's not hard when you know what they want, right? And I think this goes for like video creation for YouTube, for growing channels, writing books, and that, and also sales, like prospecting. Put yourself in the mindset of the avatar, the customer, right? The person on the other end of the line, the reader, the viewer. What do they want? It's probably different. They have a different set of priorities than you, the content bringer, the person doing the outreach, right? It's a very, very different thought process, right? And values. So in this case, if you don't know what the pain points are that are going to get their attention, so these are words and phrases, and they come from them, not from you. Don't you try and pretty it up, okay? Don't do that, all right? What we want to do is take the words that they were given as they were given to us, exactly as they were given to us, and use them. Even if it's clunky, that's fine, okay? So I've been doing this since pre-internet, really. Yes, we had the internet, but it just wasn't used in the late 90s as much as it is now. It was still a thing that you had to go to a lab and log on to, and fire up the modem, right? There's a lot of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, but let's just say it was more of a thing, right? It was like a decision as opposed to it being always on. Anyway, what I would do was I realized I was a good unorthodox job hunter. I've written a short book about it that's up on Kindle, and I've used these methods, these unorthodox job hunting methods, to get 4 custom offers just for me from companies where there was no job offered. There were no competitors. They were like, Jason, would you please just take this so we don't have to go through this stupid interview process? Here we go. And the way I got to being able to do that was through information interviews. So what I noticed early on in my job hunt was that you could have the same job title in 2 different companies, right? And that didn't mean very much, right? Like, it turned out, if I went and interviewed at both those places, the culture was different, so the priorities were different, and the atmosphere was different. The tasks were different. All right, they would call something a production analyst, let's say. It can mean almost anything, right? And so you have to go and find out what that means. And if you go into one company and interview at one job and take that job, and you'll believe that this environment that you're in is the only way things could be, and this is what everybody with your job title is doing out there in the real world, okay, until you get some more experience. So instead, what I did was I did these information interviews with HR managers and department managers, production managers of different companies. And it was good for networking, but also to find out like what was going on and what it was like, okay, in these worlds. Now, we have the value of the internet today, and things like what I'm recording this on Zoom. All right, I can meet people all over the place. I'm about to meet a director of strategy for the National Security Council of the United States, okay, just through a connection on LinkedIn. Just somebody who liked some of my stuff and reached out to connect, and I went and I saw what he had done, and I was like, wow, let's meet, right? And he was like, sure, and I'm going to find out a lot about, as much as I can, about that role, because I couldn't find much on the internet about it. And I don't expect him to give me any secrets or anything like that, but he could tell me about like what his day was like, whether he had staff or not, right? And what kind of, because I know like there's 3 of these directors and they work for a boss that's even higher level than that, and then that boss reports to the actual NSC director. So the point is though that these connections, it should be a habit, right? At best, you should be doing this all the time, but if you're in a position where you want to find out about a target market, start doing information interviews. Find people at organizations in your field, in your audience, right, that could tell you something useful, and reach out to them and say, hey, can I have 15 or 20 minutes of your time? I wrote about this on my blog, salestactics.org, years and years ago. Okay. There's 2 or 3 posts on information interviews up there if you went to there and searched for it. Hardly anyone does it. And I don't know why. Are you scared? What's there to be scared of? This isn't cold calling. You're not trying to sell them on anything, right? And I'll remind you that people's decisions about whether to talk to you or not, that was made long before you ever appeared on their radar. They have no idea who you are. They decided whether they wanted to be open and helpful or want to share stuff, right, to show off a little bit. I'm a mix of both of those things. Or be a closed off dick and say, no, I don't want to help anybody. I want nothing to do with anything. Okay, move on from those people. But I guarantee you reach out to 5 people, somebody's going to say, yeah, I'll give you 15 to 20 minutes. Sure. And you better stick to it. Okay. Don't like try and pander for a job. Just go in and talk to them and have some questions prepared, like 5 or 6 questions. You might not even get through all of them. Right. But ask them, what is this about? What's your day-to-day life like here? What are the decisions you get to make? What kind of resources do you have? What are your bosses like? What kind of struggles do you have? What do you wish was better, right? And record these things if they'll let you. Write down real fast, things. You should hear pain points from them. You should hear words and phrases, right? And when you have done a couple of these, and the next guest that you're talking to, the interviewee, says something, they will say something if you do enough of these that some past person said in exactly the same words, and that you got something there. Okay. 2 or more people say the same thing in an industry, decision makers, right? You write that down, you use it. You don't change it. You don't try and pretty it up with your great copywriting skills. No, use it the way they gave it to you. Okay. And then you feed that back. That is something to feed back to new prospects when you are doing the cold calling. Okay. I've talked to a lot of builders who were frustrated that people just wouldn't get their railings and handrails in on time. And then the building inspector had to come back like weeks or a month later. And that really screwed everything up. Right. And maybe you had a performance bond on the end of it and you had to get going. Right. For builders, that was a good one. So once you learn these pain points, they last until there's some great technological change in how things are being done in that industry. These pain points will continue to work. So use them, right? But you got to do the spade work to get at them. When I encounter these people online who are saying, oh, I need help with cold outreach and that, like I've got a lot to help them and I will, right? But the fact of the matter is most of the time when I dig, they've just done a couple calls, like not very much, right? They really didn't have a plan. They didn't have a script. They didn't know what they were doing, right? And then when you don't know what you're going to encounter, it can get very depressing quickly and shut you down. Okay. So if you had the pain points, you knew what the stresses of being in that role, like a general manager of a car dealership or multiple car dealerships is like, then you would have an easier time, right? You would have an easier time getting to the right person, talking to the right person, getting them to start a conversation with you, which I have said over and over and over again, is the hardest part for newbies, right? Getting that conversation started. You're all worried about what do I say down the line? I don't care. You aren't getting there. You have to learn how to do the start first, that chunk. That's it. Get the conversation started, okay? With qualified prospects. Then it almost doesn't matter, right? There's some things that you should be doing, but once you've started that conversation, it should feel a lot more natural But again, you could still have a script. I have a short book about this. It's called The Fast Shortcut to Agency Sales, right? And it's on Kindle. It's cheap. It's a short read. It's not 100 pages. It's, I don't know, under 20, I think. I wanted to keep it short so that you could actually read it and use it. And that thing teaches you how to start conversations. It gives you the script. It gives you exactly what to say, why it works. Get out there and use it as people have, right? And it's stuff that I've been training people on, since about 2010, 2011. Okay, so it's proven to work. We can go back to forum posts where people are coming back after sharing this thing and saying, yeah, it worked. I ran it. I did a cold walk into this business, used Jason's scripts, and these two secretaries made it their job to go find me the right person. Right. So it's powerful stuff. But again, you've got to get that beginning chunk there. Anyway, information interviews are very critical. You can find out more about it on my blog, salestactics.org. Just go there and search for information interview, and a bunch of things should pop up. And I'll leave a couple links in the description below. I'll see you next time.